Hi everyone, this is again your teacher Mark, and in this video we'll talk about flowcharts. This topic is still part of the previous video, which is about fundamentals of algorithm, and this is still about the course basic computer programming. So in this video, we'll focus more on flowcharting, which is a graphical manner of developing an algorithm. We'll also give some examples and we'll also try to identify the parts or the symbols used in flowcharting. So I hope you like this video, and again, if you can, please subscribe to my channel. So at the end of this video, you are expected to define flowcharts and identify the elements or the meaning of the symbols used in a flowchart. In computer programming, we call it the notation, and then we will also try to develop a flowchart later. So as a recap from our previous video, again, an algorithm is simply a set of instructions, and these instructions are followed by our computer. So when an instruction is correct, of course, we'll not be able to successfully accomplish whatever task we are trying to accomplish. So algorithms should be clear and also correct. Now, we have also learned that algorithms may be developed using our language, human language. So we can narrate it using pure human language. But again, as students in the computer science and information technology program, it's ideal that you develop an algorithm that is done graphically through something that we call a chart, which is called a flowchart. So I've also shown this particular slide from the previous video. On the left side is the narrative version, human language version of an algorithm. Again, the task is to get the sum of two numbers. And if we try to convert that to a flowchart, which is the graphical manner of developing an algorithm, the right figure is the counterpart or the equivalent algorithm when it's converted to a flowchart. So as you can see, there are at least three symbols in there. There is an oval, which indicates that the logic or the flow of the algorithm has started. And then as you can see at the bottom part, there is also another oval, which is labeled with stop, which indicates that the logic or the flow of the algorithm is finished. And in between, you can see two symbols. We have a parallelogram, and then we also have a rectangle. So we'll talk about the notation or the meaning of the symbols in a short while. Right, so these are the symbols that we use when we develop an algorithm using flowchart. I'll start with the oval. So we always start and end our flowchart with that symbol. And an oval represents the starting point as well as the ending point of the flow of the algorithm. So we always have to start it, and then we always have to formally end the flow of the flowchart. And then we also have arrows. It's ideal to indicate the arrows because the arrows will help us tell the flow of the charge. So you'll be able to design or develop algorithms that are quite complex in the future. And so arrows are great symbols that will help you lead through the exact or through the right path, through the right flow, to help you determine whether we got the correct algorithm for a particular task. Also, we use this symbol, the third symbol, it's parallelogram. We use that each time we ask for an input coming from the end user, And at the same time, we also use that each time we want to display something on our screen, such as a result. And then we also have the fourth symbol, which is a rectangle, and rectangle represents a process. So commonly for the beginners, uh, when the flowchart deals with some operations or calculations, then we use a rectangle symbol for that, such as an arithmetic operation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Then that's a process because an event just happened, and so parallelogram should not be used. Because it's a process, then we use the rectangle uh, symbol. And last but not the least, there is what we call a decision symbol, which is a diamond, and we'll use this symbol on the next video where I tackle control structures, the topic about control structures. And so for now, focus on the first four symbol um, as you continue learning programming and in this case, flow charting. Okay, I believe you are already familiar with this given example because I've shown it in the previous video. What you see on the left corner is an algorithm expressed in the human language, and then what you see on the right corner is an algorithm expressed using flowchart. So as you can see, we need to start the flowchart, and we use an oval for that, and so we can label it with the word start, or if you want, you can also label it with the word begin. And then next to that, because we are trying to get the sum of two numbers, it's appropriate that we first ask for the first number. So we say enter the first number, and then as you can see, the symbol that we use is a parallelogram. And then because we are asking for another number, then we need to use another parallelogram in this case. And then because we now have the two numbers and they're ready for addition. Like I said, when we encounter some operation such as an arithmetic operation, then we need to use a rectangle. So that's why you can see in there is a rectangle with labeled with add the two numbers. You can also add some more phrases in there such as add the two numbers to get the sum. And then, because we are now trying to display the result of our addition, which is called sum, we use another parallelogram. And then, as you can see, there is another oval which will formally end the flow of the flow chart. Of course, do not forget the arrow. As you can see, the arrow leads you to the flow of the logic. And so that will tell you which particular symbol to see or to look, or which particular symbol leads to a particular decision by the time we discuss or we use the decision symbol, which again is reserved on the next video. Okay, I have another example here, and as you can see, this is the task in this example is to get the quotient of the two numbers. So it's quite the same from the previous slide. As you can see, we start it out again through the use of an oval symbol. We input the number one, the first number. We input the second number. As you can see, those are all parallelograms. Now, do not forget the lecture about variations in algorithms. If you wish to use a single parallelogram, then you could just say enter the first and the second number. Or you could also say enter the two numbers. And then because it's division, it's a process, then that indicates that we need to use a rectangle. So that's why we use a rectangle just after input number two parallelogram. And then we say divide number one and number two to get quotient. Now that we got the quotient already, then we need to display it on screen. And so we use another parallelogram and then we say display quotient. This another example is an algorithm that gets the year, the supposed age, your age this year. So as you can see, we still started it. I mean, we use oval to start the flow of the logic, and then we formally ended it right at the bottom part of the flow chart. And we use two parallelograms because the data that we need in order for us to get your age this year are the following. We need the current year and we also need the birth year. So because we have to deduct these data together or subtract them, then that indicates that again we need to use another symbol, which is the rectangle, and then we said subtract birth year from current year to get age. And finally, because we now have the result, we use another parallelogram, which is labeled display your age. Now, as a personal challenge, this is now your turn to put into action what you have just learned about flowcharting. So you could develop a flowchart that computes and displays the discount of a purchased item, and then you develop a somewhat similar flowchart, but this time the discount rate is given or is already constant, and that's 3%. I hope you learned a lot on this video. You can share it, like it, and if you can, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video where we discuss more about flowcharts and where I tackle about decision control structure, which will use the diamond symbol shown on the initial parts of this video, and also something that we call repetition control structure, which will teach you how to go back or repeat your flowchart or repeat a particular instruction in your flowchart. So I hope this is helpful. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.